start off and we're going to put down some sky. Now on the original picture it's quite a pinky sky, but for ease we're going to just go for a blue sky. So what I'm going to do, take some white paint. You can watch and then do it, or you can do it as I do. So I'm going to put a bit of white paint, just squirt it down onto my, I'm going to do 3 blobs, or 4 blobs onto my piece of board. So we're not really adding any water to our paint. Get up on my seat, and then something like your cerulean blue. So I'll put it straight onto my board, not my scrap board. Put a couple of blobs of blue. If you've put it on your scrap board, doesn't matter, or your palette, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to damp my brush, but I don't want it wet. Just damp it to if it's been in your pot and it's a bit dry. And all I'm going to do is to work this paint across my paper. You can leave a bit of an edge to it. So just work it across your piece of board. If it's a bit streaky, it doesn't matter. If it all blends in, that doesn't matter. So we don't want it too thick, otherwise it will take ages to dry.
What blue did you want?
Something like cerulean, cobalt, something like that. If you haven't got that, use whichever blue you've got. So just work that in to your piece of board until you sort of run out of paint, and then give your paintbrush a wash. Just dab it on the bottom of your pot to get the paint out. Scrape off the water, and then there's little, oh, I've just dropped water on it. There's a little, I'll just have to blend that in a bit. Doesn't matter how long you go. I've just dropped some water on there, so that's why I'm just working that in. Try not to do that. I'll just wipe my brush. So that's the first stage. What we've got to do is, you can keep your board flat, doesn't have to be raised up, Rosemary, because we're not doing watercolours, so it'll be easier without that there.
I can't see it.
Oh right, see it better. Got an easel?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I didn't realise they were only there.
We've got some easels here.
I was improvising. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you.
If you've got a bit dark, just add a bit more white. If you've gone too white, add a bit more blue. So if you want it, doesn't have to come right the way down.
Well, no, actually, you're right. I think it's better for you. I'll leave it there.
Okay, all right. Right, now we need to just draw on our mountains. We're not doing mountains, we're doing cliffs, aren't we? They're called cliffs when they're landscape. So, a pencil, coloured pencil, anything like that. And I'm just going to draw them on. Just lightly, just to give me an idea. It doesn't matter that your paint's still a bit wet. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. You want to make sure that when we come to put the C in, we don't have a gap between our, or too much of a gap between our land and our sea, or our sky and our sea. And then we've got this funny bit of rock here, which did look a bit like a boat or a shark's fin.
Oh, that one. Rose, which one are you copying? The one on the bottom right? Or
Well, this is the one that we're doing. We're doing that picture.
that one?
So we put the sky on. Whoops. We put the sky on.
Yeah.
On picture 1.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Picture 2, I've drawn out the cliffs, and then we put the sea on that one, but we'll come to that in a minute. So it's just like a bit of a reminder, that is, so you know what, if you come back to do it, you know what we've done, because you do forget, don't you, and what colours you've used and everything. Now we're going to get the line of our sea by using masking tape, but this is still a bit tacky at the moment. So in order to come and put my masking tape on, that needs to be dry. So like me, if you're doing it while you're in the shop, you can go away, leave it, get on with something else and come back 10 minutes later and it's dry. But obviously we don't want to do that.
I'm going to go get some white. I've got my white.
Oh, you need some white. Yeah, white's always useful to, well, you always need loads of white, don't you? Yeah.
I'm going to use temperature.
So we're going to start putting some colour onto the cliffs, and then we'll come back to put the sea in a bit when it's dry. So, colours to put down on your palette. Start off with some yellow. We don't need loads of paint as well. Just about a probably marble sized blob. Is that? Or a very large pea. I'm going to put some yellow. I'm going to use some yellow ochre. If you haven't got yellow ochre, don't worry. So we're going to work on the cliffs now.
If you haven't got yellow ochre, can you use a bit of brown?
Yes, use a bit of brown, and then we can add some yellow to it. I'm going to use a bit of red. Again, it doesn't really matter which red. We don't need too much down, as you can see. We're keeping it quite. Put the paint on thick, but we're not putting loads of paint on. A little bit of black, not a lot of black, just need a little, perhaps a smaller blob of black. And then we will need some of our stronger blue, so ultramarine, phthalo. What other blues have people got? Primary. If you've got a different blue to your sky, that would be good. Ultramarine. Primary, yeah.
Ultramarine. I've just got a green.
No, we don't need green. You might need a bit of red. You're all okay with your colours?
Not got a different blue, I'm afraid, Rose.
Right.
There's no control over them. You try to squeeze out a piece like a pin, it comes out like a pancake.
Just go bless your face. Thank you. My piece just not really.
Right, so I'm going to go in with my smaller brush now. Okay.
Wash the bigger brush out or just leave it?
Just pop it, just wash it, make sure you've not got any paint stuck on it. So you can go in with a smaller brush. Because my cliffs and so on aren't huge, if you're working much larger, you may want to still use your bigger brush. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some yellow on top of my cliffs. Now because I'm not adding any water, it's just a dry brush, so load it onto your brush, so just sort of don't get too much on, you see, like that, and then using downward strokes just go over the top edge of your first cliff. Yellow is transparent, so it'll look quite green because of the blue sky that's underneath. So just put some of that on, just putting like layers of paint on and building up different colours, so it always looks like a very bright green because of the blue underneath. I'm going to do some on this piece of rock here as well. Again, it's got green at the top, so just putting yellow on there, so it's like the top of the cliff. You've got this grassy area, and then put some onto your third, your left hand one.
So just on tops.
Just on the tops, yeah. So we're going to layer colours and create a lovely vibrant feel, because that's the thing that attracted me to this artist, was just the colours. Lovely colours, lots of different colours. So right, if I take a little bit of blue, I'm not taking too much, again just a little bit, pull it off the edge of your blob. Don't want to get too much on our brush. You're almost using dry brush, and just go in with a few little bits of this blue on top of your yellow, so it makes it look, we've got some darker green areas.
What's that colour, Rose?
This is the ultramarine
The
blue.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so just a little bit on your brush, not too much, because we don't want to end up with blue grass. Blue grass, that's
Well, I think I've finished up with blue grass.
thing is, it's acrylic. We can change things, we can add things, we can paint over. So we're just adding a few different colours into our yellow grass at the moment. Oh, the sky's nearly dry. How are yours doing? They're drying. Right, I'm not washing my brush. I'm going to go in with a bit of yellow ochre. If you haven't got yellow ochre, just take your brown that you've got, might be an umber or a sienna, and if it's very dark, add a little bit of white to it. If you've got something like burnt sienna, then that will probably be okay as it is. And I'm just going to, again, dry brush, so not a lot of paint on my brush, just go over and add a few more different colours onto the top of those grassy areas on the cliffs. Or if you think, well, I like what I've done, I don't want to add anything more to that. You got a big splodge? What, in the sky? Oh, where's that come from?
No idea.
That's the thing is, wipe it off. You can always go over with a bit more blue, or you could increase the level of the height of your rocky
Sure.
outcrop.
I might do that.
I'm going to take a bit of red now. I'm going to add some of that into the. I've not washed my brush, so it's going out a little. It's coming out a little bit orangey. Not too much. Just sort of add a few brush strokes. We're building up the colour. Is everybody all right? Anybody lost? No, that's good.
I can see still see the pencil underneath. What's best thing to do? Just
You
put
still see what?
the pencil underneath.
Oh, that's alright, that will cover up, I'm sure, as we put some layers on. So I've used my yellow, a little bit of blue on top of the yellow to make it greeny, yellow ochre, and then I've gone in with some red. It doesn't really matter what colours you use, does it? Because there's lots of different colours in this picture. So if you want to use all reds and purples, it doesn't matter. If you want to use all greens and yellows, that doesn't matter either. It's just whatever you want to use. So we're keeping it to the three primaries: white, bit of yellow ochre, because that's always a useful colour to tone things down a bit, and a bit of black or Payne's grey or something like that. Right, I'm going to go in with some blue now. Over my red, it will go darker as well, end up with like a purpley colour. I still haven't washed my brush. If you feel that it's a bit mucky and you want to wash it, you can do. We're always keeping these brush strokes going vertically at the moment. Something in the sky. Got a white spot in the sky. It's obviously the Jupiter or something. Right. Now then, my sky is dry. So what I'm going to do now is take a piece of masking tape. I want a nice straight line to the sea. So I'm going to put my masking tape across there. So test to make sure your sky is dry, because if you put it on while it's wet, obviously it will pick up the paint. So you could use your bigger brush if you want. What I'm going to do is, no water, get my ultramarine and paint along. So horizontal strokes. Up to line. If you go over your bits of rock, it doesn't matter. You can paint those in. It's acrylic. To make sure that these brush strokes that we finish off with are horizontal, because water will always find a level. Don't worry about the white waves or anything yet. That's what we finish off with. So I'm using the edge of my flat brush. I'm not using it like that, I'm using it like a thin spatula almost to put the sea on. Everybody alright? You still with me?
I'm trying to keep you on. I know I am.
Right, so when your sky's dry, so we put a line, a piece of masking tape, okay? Yes, it's just on the table here, if we haven't got any. So is it dry, Sue? Your sky dry? And as soon as you've done it, you can peel off your tape. You don't have to let it dry, and we get a nice straight line, just like that.
Yes, I think.